New footage of Bohemian Grove has just been released, and this is the highest quality footage that you will ever see. A full video will be released soon, but just watch this.
In the U.S., Occupy protesters have descended on a quiet California redwood retreat, where some of the world's elite gather every year. Demonstrators say the 2 weeks, officially portrayed as a time of rest and relaxation, is really a chance to discuss plans for the world's future.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Really?
That's right.
Well, I'm Alex Jones, and I snuck in there in 2000. I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
I'll tell you a couple of stories about fraud. The Bohemian Club, as you say, the Bohemian Club? That's where all those rich Republicans go up and stand naked against redwood trees, right? I've never been to the Bohemian Club, but you ought to go. It'd be good for you. Get some fresh air.
Because every summer, the world's most elite and powerful men meet in the woods north of San Francisco. But they don't talk about work. Well, actually, they kind of do. But they do perform druid-like rituals, burning coffin effigies in reverence to the large redwoods that surround their camp. Nixon, Bush, both Bush, Ford, Reagan, Rumsfeld, Kissinger, Rockefeller, all of these men have been members of the super secretive Bohemian Club. And this isn't some conspiracy theory. The Bohemian Club is very, very real. And so is their annual retreat at their private camp, Bohemian Grove. Now, there are a lot of Bohemian Grove stories. Some are documented, some are rumored, some might make you start believing in a lot of different conspiracies. But the Bohemian Club was founded in 1872 by reporters who wanted to build a community in which they could appreciate the arts. Really what they wanted to do was have a place to party away from their families in the summertime. But artists and musicians were welcome, and over time the club relaxed its rules. Anyone who appreciated the arts could join, even non-creatives. This opened the floodgates because if there's one thing rich people who fancy themselves sophisticates love, it's private clubs. And soon the club was overrun by the wealthy elite, and the artists and journalists were pushed to the margins. In fact, reporters aren't even allowed anymore, and they're the ones who started it. But as per club rules, at least 10% of members must be artists. But realistically, only the most famous artists are allowed in. Oh, and there's no women allowed. Well, I mean, not inside the actual gates. Now, outside, they have women for entertainment purposes.
Bohemians! Bohemians! By the power of your fellowship, go carry slain! You forsook the sea to find delight in your ancestral grove, but your evil genius followed you. He lurked amid the shadows of these trees. He sought to chill the circle round your fire this night. But the desperate calls of your hearts, the glad spirits of the grove have answered. They have overwhelmed the evil intruder. Care, your ancient enemy is no more! Behold the corpse of this, our enemy.
I'd see something on the local news or read something in the paper or see something online, or I was getting email tips by then, by the late 90s, and I would just say, I'm going to go do this. And people say, oh, they have this big statue and do this ritual at Bohemian Grove. And I'm like, I don't believe that. And so people, listeners sent me old magazine articles and stuff where CBS reporter arrested and all that. And so that's a whole nother interesting story.
John Ronston, right?
Yes.
He went with you.
Yes.
As I was talking to him probably 2004 or 5 about a book that he had written.
Them.
Yeah. And he said, you know, I don't know what your relationship is with him, but he said, you know, there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with Alex Jones, but I went with him. He said, I saw it.
Yeah.
And he said, I thought Alex was crazy. He said, but I saw it. What did you see? And how did you get in?
Okay, it's a 2,700 acre redwood grove in the most beautiful place in America, Sonoma County. It's about 15 miles west of Santa Rosa, and it's on the Russian River, and it's a huge uncut redwood grove, just as big as the ones you see in the national parks.
Wow.
So it's a gorge with redwood trees at one entrance, and the other end exit isn't an entrance or exit. It's just a cliffside over the Russian River. And they've got over 100 camps in it. Some are big and nice, depending on how elite you are. They have like the chalet where world leaders and royalty go up on the hill. But they're all basically log cabins and open bars. And really, it's a big art thing. At the time, I went with the sensational stuff of the occultic stuff and the ritual that they do on the middle of July every year on I guess it's called Midsummer's Eve or whatever. And that's what blew up with the evangelical Christians and stuff, and I am a Christian. And definitely it's occultic, and there's vibes of that everywhere. But really, Mark Twain founded it in the 1880s, 1870s. And then President Taft started going there by railroad, and then the Republican establishment took it over. And so there was kind of a Germanic, Druidic spinoff of Skull and Bones that kind of took it over through the Republicans and Skull and Bones members. And so it kind of has that seal on it of the Skull and Bones Germanic mystery school, hyper Masonic, super secret, inner Masonic stuff. But really, it's 1,000 members and 1,000 guests.
But one thing's very clear about Bohemian Grove. They don't like outsiders. In 2008, a Vanity Fair reporter who infiltrated the camp was arrested for trespassing. It took about an hour for members and security to suss out the fact that he didn't belong. It's pretty impressive since there were several hundred men at the camp. You wouldn't think it would be too hard to blend into a crowd, right? But not this crowd. Because this crowd can tell who belongs and who doesn't. Now, despite the closed ranks, a few people have, sneaked into the club every so often, and their testimonies give Bohemian Grove theories credence. Yet even those who got into the Bohemian Club weren't able to stay long enough to really integrate and figure out exactly what was happening in those woods. Now, there are, like I said, a lot of conspiracies. And one of them involves the death of a child back in 1984. And this guy named Mark Evans wrote of a man named Paul Bonacci, who claimed that he saw a movie of a child, among some large trees, and it didn't have a happy ending, let's put it that way. But to quote Evans, John DeCamp's book, The Franklin Cover-Up, includes Paul Bonacci's testimony about a film of a child that was unalived on July 26, 1984 in California in an area that had big trees. Now, at a meeting in Santa Rosa, which is in Northern California, DeCamp told a group that he had edited out Bonacci's references to an enormous moss-covered owl and men in hooded red robes because he did not know then about the owl at the Grove and thought it too far-fetched for people to believe. Well, in the fall of 1992, Paul Bonacci was shown a black and white photo of the moss-covered owl at the Grove and quickly identified it as the site of the July 1984 movie described in DeCamp's book. Now, although this testimony has been available to law enforcement officials since mid-October 1992, no official investigation has been made.
I'm going to have to step in if I see anything crazy going on.
what we're all experiencing here this evening. It's so grand. I think in our day, we were fooled into working more and creating less. Yes, my friend, that's true. We were fooled. Fooled by the calling of the markets, chasing deals and dollars, making quotas. The care was so relentless.
Yes, I agree. Fools indeed. We were distracted by that demon care. My will to just marinate and my love for the arts was so put upon.
Looking back at my temporal advice, I most surely would have spent more time composing and arranging. If only.
If only.
Yes, only. Yes, but, my friends, let us be fooled no more on this auspicious occasion in our magical grove, surrounded by our closest and dearest friends.
When I was there, I mean, I saw Danny Glover from a distance. I saw Clint Eastwood, and I didn't run up because there's security everywhere. And I only snuck in. I snuck in during the day, went around the security in the woods. They've beefed it up a lot now. But people get in easily. Not now, it's really beefed up, but they always catch you because reporters, there's been hundreds of articles. They always walk up and start asking questions. And they go, well, who are you with? What are you doing? I didn't do that. I snuck in, tried to just go, sit down in one of the outside areas and not be noticed. And Ronson thought it was a joke, but he had an insider that was a member. And so Ronson snuck in. After he saw me get in, he went in with the member that had all the code words and all the stuff as a guest, but not as an official guest. And then Ronson had me sign a contract, but later he talked about it so I can. He said, we for liability can't shoot the footage, and we've seen you shoot some hidden footage. A little DV can and a fanny pack. They didn't have little tiny cameras back then, as you know, for kids out there. And I had to climb up on the edge of a redwood, knot root and kind of get above the people and shoot. That's why it's all canted and the cameras falling over and things. But it's still dramatic footage. And so I got in, tried to keep to myself, had sheriff's deputies and Secret Service twice while I was just sitting over an overlook and over in the woods, just at a table. I even brought a book with me so it looked like I was just hanging out. They're like, who are you with? What's going on? I'm like, and I had enough of the inside stuff that I'd read in some of the literature. I said, I'm with the Hillbillies, because that's a Texas-style camp where the Bushes go. They said, really? Okay, well, who are you here with? And I said, I'm here with Ron. Yeah, and they go, okay. And the Secret Service came over and questioned me another time. And I said, that's it, I've been questioned twice. So I came down off because it takes, it's a couple miles down. I came off the overlook where the Secret Service questioned me over the Russian River, and I got into the woods, got to the first camp, and nobody was there, and I climbed up underneath the log cabin deck, and there were like literally centipedes and spiders. It was like Indiana Jones' Temple of Doom, but not as bad. But it was quite a few, and I guess 'cause that's where they are. They're under the house, and so I wait till the light starts going down, and I had my map, and I'd only gotten in some and then gone trying to get it because most of the camps are up at the start and up the hill. I'd gotten away from civilization waiting for nighttime because I was in there about 4 or 5 hours, 4.5 hours. I hang out a few hours underneath the log cabin. And again, people say, well, why is there not footage of that? It was little hour tapes. I'm having to start it and stop it. So I got myself going in, walking down there, got the overlook, tape stops. I know there's cameras, which I later saw and they later admitted, so I don't reload it there. I just act really calm. I'm kind of hitting the button on and off. I go down, find the first camp, climb under it, reload it, get it ready, get it set, have like a handkerchief inside hanging over the front of the lens because there's a hole cut in the fanny pack, those little DV cams. And it's getting dark. Okay, I think I can blend in. And so it's twilight. I've got the map. It's this side road right here. I start walking. People start to come out of camps. They're walking. And, oh my gosh, there's the pond and there's the owl. the little lake, and there's bats flying around. It's twilight. But people are talking to each other. They're looking. I see Danny Glover. I'm walking. There's now all these big crowds of men coming in, hundreds and hundreds. And I say, okay, I'm gonna go through them and hide somewhere until it gets dark. They're gonna question me. People are looking, hey, because they all kind of know each other. I go up the hill, and then down here are the biggest redwoods, the ones you can drive cars through. The ones they
Yeah.
And there's all these tables, and there's still people eating, and they're playing Hall of the Mountain King, dun 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 dun. And I look, there's a symphony playing, and it's just twilight, the light coming through, and bats and frogs chirping, and so I go, okay, it's getting dark. So I come back down the hill. Now almost everybody is flooding out from eating their dinner down these big picnic tables that I was going up the hill looking down on. They're coming out and going down to the owl. I go around them, wait till they're there, get up behind the crowd, but there's men standing in front of me, so I kind of climb up on the edge of one of the roots and shoot the video. And it was about an hour long, so we got it on the tape. Because so I got shots of the people. I have shots all this, down there while the music's playing. I've got the shot of the ritual. And then I'm sitting there going, okay, it's an owl. This is more theater, but the occult is what theater comes from, and TV and everything is anything occult, for those that don't know, is just pre-Christ or pre-Christianity. It just means hidden, because the mystery schools are hidden. And so they mixed in Babylonian, Druidic, Canaanite, Faustian stuff in the hour. They bring out a hearse that's horse-drawn with the effigy of a child. They call on the goddess to come, and they call on these other gods to come, so it's kind of an amalgamation, like the Bible says, of all these religions. They then put the child there on the effigy. But back then, I later learned, because I got some of their annals, these guys would die and their widows would mail me annals. And then once people didn't know they had annals, then they shot up in the market. And then when people were selling them on eBay for $5,000 a piece.
What are the annals?
Every 10 years, they put a big, thick book out of the annals of Bohemian Grove.
Okay.
So as I got those annals later, I'm kind of skipping ahead, I learned, that was Walter Cronkite that was doing the voice of the owl. Wow. So they're inside the owl, and it's got slits they can look out of with a sound control, and you've got like famous actors and people doing the voices, so that's very interesting. And I'm not saying they're all devil worshippers, even bad. It's just it's more of a crazy art festival, but there is an occultic thing to it.
I mean, the mid-1980s, obviously, you guys, was big time with satanic panic and things like that. There were all these kind of rumors of all these things happening in remote parts of the property, but a local police investigation went nowhere. State investigators on related criminal acts went nowhere. An observer and near victim has described the Bohemian Grove inner hideaways, the closed sanctum, even the decor at secret locations, places where no outsider goes or servants. And apparently there is an underground lounge sign spelled U.N. Underground like that, like the UN. A dark room and a leather room. Now, back in 2000, Alex Jones snuck into Bohemian Grove with a video camera and filmed a very weird ritual, the cremation of the care. That's where members burned a coffin in front of a 40-foot tall owl, which they claim is a way of respecting the forest. And the ritual involved elaborate costumes and torches, and the footage is undeniably creepy. Now, in an extensive piece on the Bohemian Club, journalist Mark Evans wrote, Peter Weiss, writing at Spy Magazine November 1989, states Bohemian Club literature boasts that the cremation of care ceremony derives from Druid rites, medieval Christian liturgy, the Book of Common Prayer, Shakespearean drama, and 19th century American lodge rites. Is this the straight goods, or is it PR sugarcoating of a darker sacrificial rite, terrifying even on a symbolic level? Now, Moloch is an ancient Canaanite god associated with sacrifice, who appears in the form of a massive bull with a human torso. Now, in his video recording on the cremation of care ceremony, Alex Jones often referred to the giant owl as Moloch. Okay, but is it? Because in the 90s, Mark Evans wrote an article in which he compared worship of the owl to that of Moloch. And though the ceremony performed at Bohemian Grove and those performed in deference to Moloch different key ways, there are a lot of similarities between the two, because both involve massive effigies of animal gods and a sacrifice by fire. Now, in ancient times, children were brought forth by their parents so they could gain the favor of the god. And some, say that Moloch symbolized the terrifying power of nature, and that parents were willing to have the ultimate sacrifice. showed the lengths to which power-hungry people will go to rid themselves of powerlessness. Now, what I'd like you to do is take out a $1 bill. And you can see an owl-like shape peeking its head over the edge of a semicircle on the back. Is Bohemian's Club symbol on U.S. currency? Or is it just a coincidence that those curlicues look like an owl? It really looks like an owl. And when you think about the Bohemian Club and the power that they have to say, hey, you know what? We're going to put this on the dollar bill. If the Bohemian Club exerts enough power to have its symbol appear on currency, it's no wonder that symbol's an owl, because owls can turn their heads more than 180 degrees, right? It allows them to see in virtually all directions. And since the founding of the club, the Bohemians Grove's mascot has been an owl, symbolizing wisdom. And, this 30-foot hollow owl statue made of concrete over steel, stands at the head of the lake in the Grove. And the statue was designed by a sculptor and two-time club president, Haig Padigan. It was constructed in the late 1920s. And since 1929, the owl shrine has served as the backdrop of the yearly cremation of care ceremony. Now, the moss-covered statue simulates a natural rock formation, yet holds electrical and audio equipment within it. And for many years, a recording of the voice of club member Walter Cronkite was used as the voice of the owl during the ceremony.
Breathe. Smell the fragrance of our grove, of our majestic trees. Treasure and embrace the many talents that are around you now. It is clear we were meant to be here. Be in this moment. We are all friends.
What is real that men can see and know? And what is dream and what is fantasy? Perhaps our lives are two ways. The one, destructive, harsh, violent. When men contend, bewildered, lost, blind, to survive or fall, scarce knowing from forward. This is the world of care. The other reality exists as a spark in each man's heart, glowing ever brighter by friendships given and received. A world that can humble the tallest one if he but pause to test the forest's friends, or lift his eyes to the ancient trees. Beauty and truth, and this is I am the spirit of this world, soon to be here in your presence, reverent and holy. I am with you on this most important evening we share together. The owl is in his leafy temple. May all within the grove be reverent before him. Lift up your heads, O ye trees, and be ye lift up, ye heavenly spires. For behold, here is Bohemia's shrine. Holy are the pillars of his house. Weaving spiders, come not here!
Shine soft, O voyager across the sky, thou clear midsummer moon. Warm, wild in breeze, blow memories of golden summers past where care enchains.
Gather, ye forest folk, and cast your spells o'er this north. Touch their world-blind eyes with fairy hunger. Open their eyes with fancy. Love all their memories of yesterday, and seal the gifts of sorrow.
Awaken, brothers! The magic hour arrives. Begin the dream.
It is a dream, and yet not all the dream. Your nations and your grim God's giants of steel, your wisdom and your striving, they are
Okay, and all his works are but a dream. Has vanished Babylon and goodly Tyre, so they shall vanish. But the wilding rose upon the broken battlements of Tyre, and mosses rend the stones of Babylon. For beauty is eternal, and we bow to beauty everlasting. Oh, beauty's vassals, who keep in this grey autumn of the world the springtime in your hearts, I charge ye all. For lasting happiness, we turn our eyes to one alone, and she surrounds you now. Great nature, refuge of the willing heart, and only balm for breasts that have been bruised. She has two hands for every fevered brow, and gentle signs for the troubled soul. Her counsels are most wise. She heals well, having such ministry as calm and sweet. She is most faithful. Other friends may fail, but seek ye her, any quiet place, and smile. She will rise and give to you her kiss, nor tell you any hopeful tale. Entreat her, she will deny you not, but abandon her, she will not pursue. By gold you will not win her, nor by toil, nor ever at her side behold you walk, save in the old simplicity of heart her primal love is brought. So must ye come as children, little children that believe, nor ever doubt her beauty nor faith, nor deem her tenderness and change or die. Priests, my brothers, care has none shown. Attempt of waxing fat on the husks of division, commerce, pestilence, war, famine. Dull care is foe to our spirits. We hope to be spared your intrusions whilst we celebrate in these woods and upon the shores of this sea.
Sons of Bohemia, we have spent so much time together. But let's not be fooled by this silly pageantry. We've enjoyed such generous and valuable time away from these trivial and frivolous pursuits. Surely you must agree that we love the smell of our successes. Continue. It's so nice to have you back in my thoughts, but listen to me well.
Do not be distracted, brothers. There is reckless, wanting self-control. He values nothing. Recognize his lies, his division, and be done with it. Let us cast this pathetic care out of our thoughts.
No. Very well, then. Silly nature folk. Fools all. Grown men, businessmen, professional men, wise men, and foolish men. All kinds and conditions of men comporting themselves like mothers, wearing gowns, carrying torches, pretending to conquer me. Why, care is always with you, and you know it. He rides behind the rider wherever he goes, on land, on water, or in the air. While life lasts, you can never be rid of care. Your flight is useless, for I will follow still. They must run well who seek escape from dull care.
Dull care? Back to the gilded cities where still thou reignest. Thou shalt not seduce our brothers, nor fright these peaceful hillsides, nor hush the airy passage of these glades.
What power shall banish me? With sickness and sadness in the homes of many, preyed upon by worry and anxieties, wakeful at night and hustled by day. How can you hope, even for a moment, poor sons of men, to win forgetfulness of care by joining with others in pretending that he is not? You know in your hearts that the fate of mortals is wretchedness and misery. You know in the end that your little life is only round with a sea. Back with me then to your ruined city, ye men of a hopeless task. For be ye sure that wheresoever men gather, there am I among them, always.
No! Thou shalt not curse these woods!
Come, fool, I am hunger and pain.
Behold, a power mightier than thou shall smite thee with its radiant wings.
I am disease and death.
Ho! Bird of Bohemia, appear amongst thy sacred trees and banish care.
Hunger and pain.
Smite him, great owl.
Disease.
Show some care. Begone.
Death.
Then die.
want, mate?
Yeah.